So good morning to the Reverend Ministers and devotees as well as friends. Okay. 法师还有各位居士跟朋友啊，大家早上好。Okay. Before we take in the precepts, I'd like to also give you some about the Buddha's teaching, which might be very important to have understand it, so that you can cultivate it daily. And then after the precept, then we will talk about what we are going to do the meditation, the next level. Okay. 就是我们先大概讲一下我们对一个学佛的人或者佛教怎么看待平常我们生活怎么去做事情来展现自己的功德。然后当然我们拉了八戒之后，我们才来讲说我们接下来再继续要修什么Last time we mentioned about it is crucially important that we must able to develop or cultivate merits, or as an action, we always have to do merits, so that the merit can become our ground, our base, or become our resource, either for our practices and for our this life, and certainly very, very important for our next life as well. And if anyone still remember, then when I relate to the merits, so I said there are three chief merits being discussed. One is the dana, one is the sila, and one is the bhavana. I mean, one is the generosity, and then one is the virtue, and the other one is the practice, or you could simply just understand meditation. So those three things are the main chief things that we need to cultivate our merits. Okay? And I also mentioned, just to reflect your memory, then I mentioned that then to practice dana, not because just you cultivate good things, that you will have a lot of good return. Like when you do generosity, when you're helping to each other, when you're helping other persons, or financially because you support the other, or because you selflessly spend your time for the others. Well, and then you get a good return. Maybe not necessarily sometime right now. When the condition is given, it could be right now. When the condition is not given, it could be the next life. Especially when those actions become very, very strong. You could simply translate like become a stronger habitually, like a habitually strong, and then that marriage, when condition given, that you will receive the marriage. But please also understand in the Buddhist teachings, even though you might have a very good resource, as a ground. Remember, we say when we talk marriage, we must have the term marriage, working, kiriya in vatu, mean the ground. Even though you have built up a good marriage, have a good ground, but some people could deprive your chance of getting them. Not necessarily you lose it, it just deprives the chance. That's why in Buddhism, understand the ground or vatu in terms also of having the condition. You have to give a condition for you. For example, it's believed that, let's say a person have a good marriage to have a house. But if somebody are carelessly setting the fire, or some bad people doing arsenal, so then the house will burn. It doesn't mean your groundwork practice of marriage is gone. But because the condition is given in a different way, then it will deprive the person build up the marriage. And then those good merit will carry from maybe not this moment, but when you start to build it up, when you have a good ground, you still can get better resource, especially when the condition is given. Understand? So, in other words, doing a good thing, kusala dhamma, doing a good thing, building up the merit is doing a good thing too. Doing a good thing, building up the dhamma, it will never lose. It's always there. Now, one of the things, let's say, that's why in the Buddha say, let me just relate one. I love that story very much because I used to have a lot of doubt when I just newly ordained as a monk. Many things, of course. And this is one of the things about marriage. I'm not really by it sometimes. And then one day when I read a sutta, that was a time that it really then kind of like, I don't know why, to me, suddenly I get all the answers. The sutta is about, this is when I was earlier time. Then the sutta was about the heresy, not heresy, heretic, usually we use the term, those who are not really understand the Buddhist teaching, and the heretics, and they were trying to frame the Buddha. And they think, in order to look down the Buddha or make people to look down the Buddha is to make the Buddha feel embarrassed, right? To embarrass the Buddha. And these heretics, so they think, now the Buddha now come to our town now, so we can ask the Buddha, first go to, ask these few people, they have a, what they call, something in my mind. Anyway, they have a bad idea. So they went over there. They say before approaching the Buddha, they agree that bring some people with them, and also a few of them agree that first ask the Buddha, say, Buddha, when you were born in this world, and you come to our town, will you give marriage? This is, as I say, is a very concept. Will you give marriage to our people in the town, right? That's a question. And they said, if the Buddha say, no, I don't, then they can accuse the Buddha, what's the use of you say you are Buddha and be born here, and you come to the town? And this is what they're trying to flame the Buddha. Okay, what if the Buddha say, yes, I will give the marriage. When I come to this town, actually, we will give the marriage to the people in this town. And then they could raise the accusation by saying that, if so, why many people, still are very poor? Why many people are having disaster? And so forth, right? And kind of like every unfortunate situation comes to our town, like the calamity and all this. But how do you explain that? You said you would give the marriage and the benefit for our town. So, okay, as they planned, they met the Buddha. As they planned, they asked the Buddha. Of course, the first answer the Buddha would say yes, right? If a yes, then the first assumption, the first, what they call this, the bad idea was gone. It doesn't have to ask about that, saying, what's the use of you to be born here? Because Buddha said, yes, when you come to the town, we get a marriage. But the second, then they raised the second thing, saying that then what about our people? Look, still there are people who are very poor, so people having a problem and so forth. You said you were born in the world, you give the marriage to us, now you come to our town. In other words, not the word, it's just even you come to town. Now don't say about the word, that why what happened with that? And how do you explain that? And then the Buddha say, I have used my power. Remember this, very interesting. I have used my power to see every being, that doesn't really mean everyone, but mean a lot of people, to see every being. Those who are very rich now, none of them, they did anything good in the past. In other words, this is a very Buddhist way of saying, if they can become a rich, any person, in the past life, they must have done something very, they have to do a lot of generosity. But in other words, he want to say, he had examined that in many cases already. This kind of doubt is not only you happen, he had examined the case to understand what is really the whole cosmology kind of law, you could say cosmological law. So he said none of them, if they become rich or become fortunate or so forth, none of them would not, anyway, all of them must have done something good so that they get the fruit. Then the important is the next one. He say, however, no, then we have to hear the however, However, if there were, and he mentioned 9 conditions, if this 9 condition is there, can deprive their fortune right now. Now, among them, like I just mentioned, let's say fire, flood, calamity, earthquake, and all this is a condition. They were supposed to have that. And what I like the most among that, if any government, or that time didn't say government, any king is not righteously, they also can deprive your condition to have good fortune. Right? In other words, I mean, in the past life, you have developed something, you suppose this life become a rich man. I know, well, I give you one story. And that really helped me when I be a monk only a few years, I think second year, because of course I study and so forth, something still in my head. And then when there was a time after, it's really great that I learned this first, and then there was a time I lived in France. In France, actually later on there were Cambodian Chinese or Laos Chinese. Usually we call that triangle Chinese. You know, when they have a lot of problem in those days, they need to they have to run away, and then they be as an asylum to stay in Paris. So actually they were hosting me, and I was helping to set up a Buddhist organization there at that time. And they told us about their story. And actually among these, they were the rich people in the country. But when the government changed the thing, I'm sure I don't need to talk politics, I'm not interested in that. And then they have to run their life. They say that time what they can think of is not about money. They knew that on the way, whatever cash money they bring is useless. Somehow they can only bring the gold, but on the way they need to go to buy their life, right? To get the ticket for the ship to run here and there. Anyway, I heard a lot of this real story. Some even during that time when they run away, even the hair, the women hair, all lost, all hair become, because terribly having terribly malnutrition, Now the funny part is this. Of course, they told me a lot of things. Even when they were on the ship, how many people died on the corpse they had to throw on the sea and all this. Really, astrologers is kind of story they had. They told me. They were very rich people, a lot of servants with them because of the country change, and then they become like that. And interestingly, when they came to Paris, these people become rich. They work hard. Somehow, because I guess this is what we say, always understand the marriage in a way. Of course not like sitting there and then marriage comes, because you need to give the condition yourself to make it there, okay? And you can simply understand because of the past, they have a good conduct. So the morality, the generosity, the kindness, and also give them, when they come to a next country, which gives them opportunity, they do the same thing. Work hard, be generous, be nice, be smart, be wise. And these people, they become rich. And even though not as when they were there, they suppose even better in some way, because they become rich, mean they have to open, that say in Paris. I have the best food actually in there, I have to tell you. I always say that so far the best ever the vegetarian food for me I have is when I was in Paris. Because these people, one thing is not that because they know how to cook food. It's also they have kind of infused by the Paris culture of food culture. They make it nicely look. Very subtle way of dedication. The same Chinese food tastes completely different. If you ask me, even though I'm a Cantonese is very guttery of food actually. Everything is about food. In the table always talk food. At Cantonese, you cannot to talk anything. The one thing that they cannot stop to talking is the food, okay? They can criticize what it is, but they still eat it, And don't be surprised when you go to Cantonese table, and then when the people criticizing the food, don't be think they are very rude. This is culture. They love to talk food. I mean, love to talk means praise the food. When I was in England, as a British culture, you talk, oh, wonderful, nice, and this, right? But the Cantonese, what it is? How can it be like that? Why this color like this? You know, like kind of this. But actually, sometimes it's a way to show we are friends. Please don't take it wrongly. I know in certain, when I was in Taiwan, the Taiwan culture, you cannot do that. You cannot, when the people, how do you like my food? You cannot say, I think you should make it a different color. And they were very angry, you know. But in Cantonese, I mean, when you're good, they will say, okay, if you don't like to eat it, just leave it. But it doesn't mean that they're angry. It's just to say, yeah, show that, why don't you appreciate my food? But it's a kind of cultural way of conversation. Anyway, now I should jump back to, this is what I mean, but by the way, this is, you need to understand different culture. Even among Chinese, don't think they are the same, okay? Very different, very different. I know very well because I had to deal with so many monks and nuns in the past, and even the lay people from different part of Chinese, the expression is very different, okay? Okay, so when he say that, that made me understand the marriage means you cultivate a good thing, and you carry your one life to two life to three life to fourth life. Let's say if a diligent person, we were born supposing become very diligent, but still, the concept is one thing is very important to understand. The condition could change you, can stop you, but what you have done, the good thing, it's always there. Be ready, you know. So this is what the Buddhists understand marriage. I hope that will clear you some idea what the marriage mean. What does the word "vatu" mean? The resource mean? Okay, say that you were supposed to be born in the country at the time, rich person, but any decision of the country make it could deprive you, but it would not going to stop you become rich in other life or other situation. Okay, and some people, if they don't develop goodness from the past, how hard they work, they will get just a little. I mean, this is what it means. Say that given the same, both person having the same situation, same thing, because due to the past, they have built up a good marriage, that other person get more. Okay. Now, I'm going to talk more what is meant by marriage. As I say, the marriage is not just to understood as, sorry, I need to, before I forget, I always like that, my mind jump very quick. Then the Buddha is also not just saying that because if they have the king, you know, in those days it was a kingship, so make the wrong decision that can deprive the marriage. And there's other word he say, it is because the king have the wrong view, justice. Okay, in other words mean, then the next interesting part, looks like the Buddha changed the subject, but it's not. Then the Buddha say, this is why I always say, when person have the wrong view is the utmost, kind of utmost fearful thing, a horrible thing. Because when a person have a very powerful position, if they make the wrong view, it can affect a lot of people, deprive, they are supposed to have those marriage. Okay, that's what the marriage means. I hope that you have more sense now what the marriage it mean, or what does the working of the marriage mean, and what does the vatu mean, the ground or resource for the marriage. Because when you talk marriage, you need to talk punya, kiriya, and vatu. I will say some in Chinese, but let me finish this line first. I thought I was going to read that, but I'm not going to read part of it because anyway, maybe it sounds very wonderful since you don't understand, maybe doesn't make any sense much. Now, in that marriage also, as I say, you can simply understand as there was the marriage that when you work on the marriage for generosity, work on marriage for the virtue, and work on marriage for the practice of bhavana, but also that can be divided into 10. Why I want to mention that you will know later. One is about giving, in other words, means generosity. The second one is a morality, right? The third one is a practice, and the fourth one is respect. Okay, respectfulness, to be respectfulness. Well, if you know how to cultivate your love, your loving kindness, normally these 4 kind of things should be easily implemented by you. Okay? You look at when the people really have a love mind, caring other people's mind, they will become a generosity person. They will have a good virtue. They also will practice their meditation because they know they need to improve, And also, they also will become a person who is very respected other, right? This is why the loving kindness meditation, I apologize also one thing. If you think that you are supposed to come here to practice this is how I usually teach, and I suddenly changed the meditation way, but still you are learning the Dharma, okay? But I still need to advertise this. Next time we will teach this, please come to learn. It's a wonderful, wonderful technique. So, in other words, if you have a loving kindness, this 4 thing is very easy to implement. Or mostly because you implement this because due to you have loving kindness. And the other 2, it's because you have this other 2, so that normally when you implement this kind of merit, it's due to because you have compassion. This is what we call Vayavacha. Okay, it's mean service, helping, service, right? It's why you initiate your mind, or why you decided to help the other, because you have compassion. You want to help. So this is why. But the word is called Vayavacha, mean you serve, right? Like when we have a breakfast, some very nice people volunteer here. They have developed the compassion because they are helping. We don't pay for them, okay? We don't have money to pay for them. They come here, they were just helping to have a good summer camp for the kids, and then the meditation can, everyone, have this kind of opportunity not to worry about anything. So they just, out of what compassion they do the work, So, this is also itself is a building a marriage, okay? This is why Kiriya means working, and then that's why the marriage grows, and it becomes the ground for them. And the other is the what we call this dedicating of marriage, Patithana, dedicating a marriage. So this is also mostly people dedicating a marriage out of compassion, And what kind of situation that people build up the marriage are out of rejoice, sharing your joys. I mean, when the people are, you just wish people to happy, and also you kind of be happy with them, right? You just be happy with them. The joy, like a joyous meditation, is when the person do the patithana, pata anumodana. I mean, when people are going to rejoice. Say that, some people say, my meditation is very good now. You don't jealous. Come on, I've been here for 10 years. You only for 3 days, right? Then you don't have merit. You have unwholesome thing. When you have this unwholesome thing, is it good for you? No. Think about it, you are not happy. And the person also not happy. Okay? When the person knows that you are jealous about that, who is happy? Nobody happy about it. So be wise also. Just rejoice. Oh, so nice. But it's not as, some people I know, they always say nice. Oh, so nice. But the heart is, what? That is another question. We are talking about all mentally. Otherwise, this is not the merit, So the mentally, we're just really like, that's why you need to practice. Just be happy for them. What's wrong? Be happy for them. Firstly, the person is not taking anything from you, right? Maybe yes, sometime, I don't know. Let's say I know that a lot of cases you think it's taking from you, whatever. Like a lot of cases, like when you, especially I know that when you find a job and then you have a competition of two, right? At the end, and they choose the other, not you. And of course, you definitely, especially, some people are really bad too, but generally, the person maybe didn't know they actually apply the same job, He doesn't want to disturb your anger, but he didn't know. And then he would just mention to you that, I got a job. Where did you get a job? Then you found actually the same job that you applied. I'm sure that really, especially when you really have no money, that's really. But let me tell you, if you could rejoice, you will get a job very easily. Do you believe or not? You don't. Let me tell one story. I mean, I'm saying this is not a Sutta song. That's I think. Two stories now remember. One is about one time when I left New York and I was invited back to teach meditation. Okay. And then I agreed because anyway I have time for some other reasons too. Then I went back to New York to teach like a retreat for 7 days. I think I forgot it's 5 or 6. I think it's 7 days if I was not wrong. And I went back there to teach a retreat for this force of abiding meditation, I mean the loving kindness, compassion, joy, and equanimity meditation. And I went back there, and then there was one guy was waiting for me, very exciting. And he's the Caucasian young guy. I think definitely not more than 25 years or something like that. He was very happy, smiling, big jaw, smiling. And I was like, oh, and he was like, oh, teacher. He was like, dashing to me, kind of like, And he told me that, you told me the thing is correct, because when he was finding a job last retreat, I mean a year ago, that was before my term is up, when I was there, that was the last, he came to join the meditation. He doesn't know anything. He just somehow, because he couldn't find a job for a long time, he felt really like depressed. And then some Google somehow, and he found there's a meditation retreat. Somehow and he thought, why not? So that's why he came. He doesn't know anything. But then in person, he said, could I talk to you personally? I said, fine. So, that's why he told me that he had this problem, blah, 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 okay. The one thing is about job anyway. I said, don't worry. After you practice meditation, you should remember all the time to give telling that you want a job after this meditation, and give the good wish to yourself, right? And very important, always keep your mind joyful, nicely, and so forth. And just when the retreat finished, this is maybe coincidence, it's fine, but it's something lovely story. When he finished his retreat, when he went back home, and then he suddenly got a call for interview. And he was kind of like surprised, like, ooh, especially maybe American mentality, maybe miracle, maybe, I don't know. And then he went for the interview, and he was like, everything very nice. I think one thing, don't forget, after 7 days of meditation, his mind is joyful, like delighted person, become really delighted person. Always finding a job, I guess, besides you know whether you have a skill or not, the next thing is to know whether you are a good person, right? Even though the worst person, they want a good person with them. Trust me. Am I right? They want the person who is happy, easy to talk, listening, respectful, and smart too in a way, and everything. People who practice the force of abiding, they always show that, right? Calm and smart, considerate, humble, all qualities there. I think, anyway, this is how I found. So he went over there when the interview, and he said he got a job, and not only that, it's far paid. The payment is so good that far better than he expected. So he said, I have the whole wonderful year. So I couldn't wait that when you come back to teach meditation. But I didn't finish that story yet. Now, back to the merit and condition. So, unfortunately, then I said, are you going to join this retreat for whole? Of course. He said, I will do that, But very unfortunate, I noticed that already. Before I could stop that, but things happened already. He sat next to a guy, I think you were there at that time. He sat to the next to the guy, and the guy is, he used to come to meditation, but I think he's a kind of maybe more strong-headed person. Like I advised them, he still want to keep on his way, It's fine. I couldn't, change other people's mind. But he sat with the next guy, and the next guy, I don't know what, he maybe have physical discomfort, what, he always move. That guy, he not like, it's very noisy in a way. And he's not only that, he sneezes all the time. And this young guy, he was like, And also, sometimes because I was too busy, I need to take a little responsible. I should have told people, if you find not comfortable, you could move your seat. Especially, that time in there, those things are arranged by other person. The nuns, they do that. I don't like to give too much rule. I know. It is not about rule. These people are really, sometimes some people, they love the way I say, here, don't move, right? Some people love this kind of system. Even this is not my way of thinking, but even if I'm going away, they will do the same thing. So that's why maybe they told them, that's why I know, because afterward I did ask, and then I came to know, yes, someone, the nun who came and say, when we decide to sit for you there, don't move, okay? Maybe that kid, he was poor kid. He was really, when I say kid, I don't mean he's really small, but the poor kid, he really, suffered with that. He didn't have so after 2 days, he couldn't stand anymore. And that guy is not only just because moving and sneezing, all the time, like that. And he was like, and he might be thought maybe this contamination or whatever, I don't know. And he disappeared anyway. But I still hope he have a very good life, whatever. Okay. So let me just finish this about. This is what I definitely think is really useful. And okay, one other story I want to share in you before one is when there was a few friends we have. Sometimes when you have a group of people, a friend, you maybe usually talk to some person more than the other person, right? It happens. When I was in Sri Lanka, we have few of the Chinese people there, and then we studied together. Even after later on we didn't study together, but we always together, because they live there. Even though later on they don't go to same school, but we live there. Also, it's a time now. But anyway, let me just finish the story. So what happened is that time, even though that person, I didn't really have a lot of, contact with that one guy. But I had more close to other. Looks like he's kind of like, at that time, we both are not really, we didn't have argument at all, but kind of like we are not click, we don't talk that much. And then one day I met him after 10 years. After 10 years. Suddenly I met him in America when I came here for conference, actually. And I asked him why, I met him, we both were surprised. Oh, you're here? Yes, you're here. Then I asked him, we were just crossing, he was taking an escalator up, I was taking an escalator down. And this is why we met. And then this is why we decided we meet, have a tea. And then when we sit down, and I said, why you're here? He said, I come here for interview. So I said, oh, really? Then I started to tell, my mind was really happy. I really wish you would get a job, and then you have tried very hard and you deserve it and so forth. But to be honest, I didn't say that because with my mouth, my heart thinks differently. No, I really, maybe that time I was in a good mood anyway, whatever. So I would really say that. And somehow that guy feel it. Now, we are the best friend. That's all. I know, even in the past, we don't have anything, just that moment. Even actually, he didn't get a job at that time at the end. So he was trying to get a teaching job in America, So, but because I simply that, somehow I know this is the person I can be a friend. That's all. This is why the rejoice is so important. Okay? It's so important. And people could just simply know whether you are a person can be trust in a certain sense, And the last two is about one more thing is about the rejoice is about teaching the Dhamma and listening to the Dhamma. Okay, sometimes when you listen to the Dhamma, you have to be rejoiced. Normally, when people give the Dhamma, giving the teaching, so of course with the delight of heart, you have to rejoice. Maybe sometimes you are not very appreciate what they teach. Please rejoice. I give you a simple example. So there was a time. I can give you to relate for you that some people who give a Dhamma about a breath meditation, Actually, my PhD thesis is about breath meditation. All the information about breath meditation, especially the old source in original language, even some manuscript, I read it, In those days, I spent few years to do that. So when the person gives the breath meditation presentation, he's a monk, and I think he was wrong in many things. And then I didn't get angry. I just rejoiced because I knew he's not deliberately do that. Nobody can really know everything. We always believe it's acceptable that. I just rejoice because he wants to dedicate his time for people, right? Even information, some people can give a wrong information out of different reasons. Something the sources, maybe sometimes speech, language-wise, whatever. I just rejoice. With the rejoice, I asked him a question. I didn't challenge him. I just say, I just want to know, just now what you say this, does it mean that or not? Then he said, yes. Still wrong, okay? But I said, oh, thank you so much. I don't want to, unless if I get a chance, maybe I can talk to him, that's all. I'm not. This is why I want to say, this is a rejoice. What we say that listening to the Dhamma, you need to rejoice. Not with anger, what he's talking, So this is very important. It's a good quality to practice your joyous meditation also. The same thing is about teaching the Dhamma, okay? So you need to rejoice as well, okay? The last two is that, the last one, just only one, we call that Tittiju Karma, means strict the karma, strict up your karma, mean you have to live, you have let your karma not crooked in a straight, in a good way. Then you need the upekkha, the equanimity. Because only through the equanimity practice, you're able to correct your view all the time. You don't look at anything or understand anything through only love, because it can be a little biased, even though it's a good quality, right? Not just through compassion, it can be a little biased, even though it's a good quality. When you have a joy in Buddhist understanding, it could be a little attachment there. But then you must be able to develop this equanimity mind so that you can truly understand the thing. This is why I mean you can strict up your view, okay? The karma, strict up your right view in a way. It's to the upekkha, the equanimity. Okay, sorry about the time, sorry about the Chinese. I promise when we come back, I will say something in Chinese. And let's just take the 8 precepts before the breakfast. Sorry.